It's Air Force, I think, right?
Oh yeah, Air Force. Bam, we're live. Sorry I'm late. Camera had turned off. Good morning.
Good morning.
I got the lady who made Fall of Minneapolis, the documentary coming on tomorrow. Did you by any chance get a chance to see that?
I did.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Well, sure. I mean, yeah. It's
You were gonna.
it's it's an important work. It's worth seeing.
Were you gonna say it was kind of like obvious?
Well, it was very well done, and it's a bold thing to do. And I didn't see anything that I didn't already know or hadn't heard from somewhere else.
Right. Right. When I went into after that, I read the. She wrote a book also under a different name, but same story with more details. And there
Under
was
a different name, a name other than her own.
no, Liz Collins still named, but the book wasn't called Fall of Minneapolis.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I forget what the name of the book is. I listened to the audiobook. And there was just crazy shit in there, like the details. Like at one point, a couple days before the police station fell, they realized that the police only had 8 non-lethal rounds between the entire police station. 8 non-lethal rounds. When I hear that, I'm guessing that means like rubber bullets or beanbags. And they sent a request for more non-lethal bullets, and they heard nothing back. And then another thing is they told the officers basically, hey, pack up all your shit and get ready. And they didn't say why. They didn't say because get ready because we're about to in a couple of days we're going to forfeit the police station. And the head of the police station told the chief, hey, this police station's the armory for like the county. Like we have all the guns and bullets for all the police departments stored here. And they didn't even know that.
Yeah.
They sacrificed the police station with all the guns and bullets for the entire county. Just some of the details and nuances the book reveals, you can't even believe. It starts making you.
I think they were just laying the groundwork, the game plan for Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan.
That was same crew made it up.
I think that was where the idea came from. Let's first take the personnel out, then essential civilians, and then try to negotiate to get the weapons back or something.
Another crazy thing, Greg, is they built a fence around the police station, right, to protect it from the rioters. And they locked the back gates where the police were told to exit from, but they left the front gates where the protesters came in unlocked. So when the protesters finally breached the gate and started like Molotov cocktailing the police station, the cops couldn't get out the back.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And so they had to use a car to ram the gate to get the gate open. I actually saw the footage of that.
Some of them they were fleeing on foot.
Yeah, and there was supposed to be a bus there to meet them, and it wasn't there either. So the cops had to it shows the entire SWAT team. It's like 60 cops or something running from a mob. It was kind of like they had set it up for the cops to turn around and just start shooting the crowd. There's no explanation for it other than, I mean, there were too many things that went wrong to make me think it was an accident. You think when they left Afghanistan,
everything goes wrong. It's the ineptitude.
So you don't think it was a plan? You think it's just ineptitude?
I think that I won't even give attribution to the quote because I end up trying to defend someone, but it's been suggested that a liberal couldn't keep a 7-Eleven open for a shift.
Because
just due to general lack of common sense.
Right.
A pervasive ineptness.
And they said the plan was that all along to give the rioters the police station as sort of what's the word?
A peace offering.
Yeah, kind of like that. Like
Appeasement.
yeah, hey, we're gonna let you burn down the taxpayers paid
Let
for
him
this.
have Poland, and he'll stop there.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
And I was just think of the psychological implications of that on that whole city. The fact that now you know that these people are supposed to protect you can't even protect their own base. It's like an utter fail on every front.
As you're saying this, I look over to Anthony Blinken's on TV. It's perfect backdrop.
I think that the George Floyd thing is the more than just the catalyst, but the basically all the crime that's occurring now, all of these running into Nordstrom's and breaking into Apple stores and all of this, I think it's all because of the George Floyd incident. I think it's so simple. I think it's just police officers are afraid to engage melanated people because they don't want to get in trouble. Are you following what's going on at USC?
Or is it UCLA that's the bigger story? Is it USC?
I thought it was USC. I did see, though, something really funny that you would appreciate. Across the street from UCLA, someone's erected a giant movie screen and is playing the October 7th attack over and over again on loop. Just on a big screen. Like here, in case you forgot.
Doing that?
In case you forgot. Yeah, like as a celebratory thing.
Yeah, jerking off to it.
Man, did you see the last night there was some footage released and it shows them pushing Jews off campus. Have you seen some of that footage? The two Jewish girls? Yeah.
We're in a familiar place historically. It's got some of the vibes of 1968.
The whole Chicago Democratic Convention, that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Kent State, the campus unrest. It was a free speech movement, or labeled as such at the time, but it was disruptive, and it ushered in Richard Nixon by a landslide.
Yeah. He won every state except for one, and then DC. And then, interestingly enough, the Watergate trial took place in DC when that was like one of only two places that he didn't win, or it was going to take place there. He stepped down before the trial occurred, right?
Yeah, he was going to get impeached and removed. He lost it. He lost the support.
How old were you when that happened?
When he finally stepped down, what was it? Look it up. 72, is that right?
When did Nixon step down?
So after his first 71, 72?
It was his resignation speech was on August 8th, 1974.
74, shit. Yeah, so I just graduated from high school.
Was it scary then? Did you
think
he
was toast though? I mean, he was walking dead. It was crazy, the shit that was mounting on him.
Like with the media?
Tapes from the Oval Office, and he was losing court decisions, and it was kind of ugly.
And did it feel unstable in the country then?
Yeah, because I was 17.
What do you mean? Explain.
I was 17 years old. Yeah, everything was fucking unstable.
Right. Were you scared at all? Like as a like your psychology, like, oh shit, this is the fall of the fucking empire.
No.
We're the adults.
I'm not excited now either, though.
By excited, you mean you're not fazed by it now? You're just kind of like,
I think some of us are wired for when shit's fucked up. You know, I mean, the deplorable state of academic exercise science created everything I have.
Oh, right.
The opportunity.
Right.
My buddy Jimmy, like, what would if there weren't bad guys, what the fuck would he do?
Right.
He's got this crazy talent for taking care of bad guys, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody wants bad guys, but they're a fact of life. And thank God for people like Jim.
Yeah.
Same with plumbers, right?
What do you mean? Like you need toilets to go bad? You're not like all of a sudden wishing, God, I wish all toilets never broke down ever again.
The toilet breaks down and you need a plumber. The guy makes a fortune off your misfortune. But I get that. It's how the world works. I'm okay with it. I tend to notice things that aren't working. And if you can find a fix for it, it's kind of cool.
Business opportunity.
For sure.
Trish, should I stop chewing tobacco? No. Sevi, are you going to hang out with me or do I have to camp in your backyard? There'll be no time to hang out. But I'm excited to see you. Heidi will be there May 9th at your house for the Broken Science hangout.
Super cool.
Hey, I wanted to show you something that I'm curious how you're going to react to this, if it's going to make maybe you've heard this story before, but it's a little lengthy. It's a couple minutes. But it's quite remarkable. I heard this last night and I thought of you. Here we go.
This is one of the most famous photos ever taken. Jesse Owens standing on the podium, having won one of his 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics in front of Hitler. Next to him, in silver position, Lutz Long, the German, doing the Nazi salute. Both men had broken the Olympic record repeatedly before Owens jumped just over 8 meters for them.
It was a new Olympic, an athlete of special courage. He put his arms around him. And we walked
Long was the first to congratulate Owens. They posed together, they became friends, they walked arm in arm around the stadium. And Owens said, it took a lot of courage for him to befriend me in front of Hitler. And he said it was the start of a 24-carat friendship. That friendship endured. Long joined the German army during World War II, and he wrote to Owens from North Africa, I am here, Jesse, where it seems there is only the dry sand and the wet blood. I do not fear so much for myself, my friend Jesse. I fear for my woman who is at home and my young son, Carl, who is me. That is the last letter I shall ever write. If it is, I ask you to do something. It is something so very important to me. It is that you go to Germany when this war is done. Someday, find my son, Carl, and tell him about his father. Tell him, Jesse, what times were like when we were not separated by war. I am saying, tell him how things can be between men on this earth. Long was mortally wounded in Sicily on the 10th of July 1943, dying a few days later. He was 30. In 1951, Jesse Owens did return to Germany, found Long's son Carl, and when Carl got married, Owens was the best man. And they even recreated the famous picture of Owens and Carl's dad. And their families are still friends to this day. This is one of the most famous photos.
Wild, right?
Yeah, what a story.
They were walking arm in arm after the Olympics.
Is that going to be in violation of community standards?
Showing the black guy and the white guy walking together, expressing love.
A positive story without some horrific racial overtone of lynching or disparity, no reparations talk. I mean, just a honest friendship.
So here's a black.
I think that would fly in the face of community standards.
Right. Right. Doesn't hold up the narrative.
It's propaganda. It's a propaganda piece suggesting that a colorblind way of life is the best way.
Here's a black guy who achieved something solely on merit in front of the entire world while the entire world watched. This is on a side subject, but it's fascinating now. Like when I think of the woman who's now in the Supreme Court, the black lady, and I think of what she took from people like Jesse Owens, right? Who earned something completely on merit and then gets the qualification of being the first black woman, and yet she didn't earn it. Whereas here we have Jesse Owens earn every fucking thing that was given to him. His journey was probably wild, right? And then he goes to Nazi Germany and he competes against this guy. And this guy goes and ends up fighting for Hitler in the war. The bad guys.
It's a trip.
Yeah, it's a trip, right?
And if we believe Victor Davis Hanson, it's because America projected a culture of pacifism, had risen above war. And it was exciting to Tojo and to Hitler. And they miscalculated our enormous strength because of our proclivity to hide it, in the sense of trying to look enlightened.
We did love everyone in peace, and just sat idly by as fucking millions were slaughtered.
Right. It suggested to Hitler and Tojo they could take the whole fucking thing. It caused the miscalculation.
On Hitler's part.
On Hitler and Tojo's part.
Oh, who's Tojo?
He's the Japanese guy.
Oh. Tank Reeves, Sevon is glorifying Hitler. Boy, that's scary. You think that there's probably a lot of people who think like that, right? Like,
I don't know. I missed it. When did that happen?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
God, and that's the part that's so. It's examples of posts like that make me realize we're surrounded by retards.
Glorifying Hitler.
Hey, was Jesse Owen? So this happened in the 40s, or sorry, this happened in the 1936 Olympics. I wonder when Jesse Owens died. Was he a big character when you were a kid growing up?
It was already he was a historical figure, I think, at that point.
He died. He didn't die till 1980. Wow. When I was a kid, the Olympics meant something. Now I feel like they don't. Ever since they switched to that every 2 years, I feel like it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's lost. It's lost its luster, right? It's lost its. Or maybe it's because there's 600 channels on the TV now. I wonder what happened to the.
Yeah, and as you get older, I think it probably your horizons broaden, and it's a limited bandwidth for that shit, I would think. I mean, do you have periods in the day where you just, when's the last time you put a baseball game on? You watch fights.
Yeah. I don't hang out with really anyone who. My closest thing now is, now that we know Tyson Bagent and he's in the NFL, I bought the NFL package. I still couldn't figure out how it worked. I think I spent $1,000 last year on trying to watch NFL games, and I still never got to see one Chicago Bears game because I couldn't figure out how it worked. It was always like, it's not showing in your region.
I think my games ruined me for all sports.
Oh, the CrossFit games?
Yeah.
Let me hear that. What do you mean? Like you saw behind the curtain? You knew all the games were rigged for Rich to win?
You were kind of there. Some of it happened. Remember the Super Bowl we went to?
Oh, man.
And then Dave and I got invited to fly to the Super Bowl with the owner of a team, and politely declined, suggested that was an honor befitting of someone who kind of gave a fuck about the sport.
Did you enjoy any of the events we went to? Did you, like when we went to the Rolling Stones, did you enjoy that? In San Diego? By enjoy it, I mean, I don't mean like hanging out with your friends. I mean as a musical, as a concert experience. I remember it sounded better outside of the stadium than inside the stadium.
There's that.
We also went and saw U2.
It's a risky take, right? We saw U2. I thought that's been a more enjoyable thing.
But did you even enjoy that? I felt like I couldn't even hear the music.
Acoustics were good, and I did.
Okay.
Like the Rose Bowl. Were you there for that?
I saw U2 with you in Madison Square Garden. I didn't enjoy that either. I mean, I enjoyed it because I was with you and friends, but I just thought it was just horrible. I was like, it was like being in your friend's car with the radio too loud. The only concert I ever enjoyed with you that I went to is when we saw Tosh in Palm Springs.
You know, I'll tell you the public event I liked, and I don't like public events, but I really enjoyed this one. When we got the Amber Alert that there was going to be killer waves at the beach to stay
Oh,
away
yeah.
from the shore, and we went down there, and there was no parking, and everyone was standing there wanting to see the killer waves.
That was recently. That's just a few months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool.
We were in Santa Cruz. I don't even think I think I ran into you down there. I don't even think you and I organized meeting down there.
No, I think we planned to go. I think the warning that came on all our phones said that it was going to be the gravest danger would be at noon, and so we timed it perfectly.
Yeah, stay away from the coast, and you get down there, and all your friends you haven't seen in 10 years are there. Yeah, that was amazing.
The entire county went to the beach to see the deadly waves.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was more fun than the Super Bowl.
And the audio was perfect there.
You had burritos. You could leave whenever you wanted.
Right. Right.
Hey, let's go to Mijo's.
Oh, today?
Make sure they're good for the 9th.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Has anyone contacted him for the 9th?
And hit the bike shop. We'll bring him lunch.
Oh, that's thoughtful. Has anyone contacted Mijo's about the 9th?
Maggie did.
Oh, awesome.
So we'll check as well.
I'm excited for today. This is my last day with you. Are you coming back on the 3rd?
No, I'm going to the boat on the 3rd. Me and Mikey Bender and Jim, and you want to go?
Are you gonna? No, I do, but I got shit I got to do. Are you gonna fish?
No.
Is the 3rd Friday? What is the 3rd? Oh, yeah, the 3rd. The 3rd's Friday.
And then so the next day, I want to be up here because my bees are ready.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I got the good note on it that the queens are. What was it? Let me look here. I'll tell you.
Like they're en route, or the girl already has the queen.
No, they're. I don't know the process. I shouldn't be.
Yeah, but just pretend like you do. I want to hear this. I'm so excited.
Well, there was something that queens had to mature. And there's 3 of them, and they're going to bring 100,000 bees with each queen. And
those come by FedEx?
No. They're here local. They're actually in Larkin Valley. And her message was, "Hi, Greg and Mark, quick update. New queen bees, 3 of them are all laying in solid patterns, will be ready to transport by Saturday. I'll close the hive Friday night to keep them all inside. Planning to move them mid-morning Saturday. They'll need to chill in their new location for a day or 2 before I shake them into their new hive boxes. Does Saturday around 11 a.m. work for me to come to the house?"
Oh,
so
shit.
I want to go from the boat back. I want to go up here and see that. And
can I bring my boys to watch that?
Yeah, I think we should. And even if I can't get up, you ought to do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. And then so it sounds like Sunday or Monday there'll be a big event too when she shakes the bees into the hive.
Yeah, and you know what's cool? This is concomitant with this prep. They, of course, put spaces out for the boxes, go in the right direction, and we're going to plant a shit ton of lavender on the hillside. But we're going on a yellow jacket murdering spree, which is entirely enjoyable.
And how do you do that?
Well, the way that I was doing it, of course, there's just the traps, right? They'll fill.
Right.
You got the pheromone you put in it, and it draws them. Those things. We've done that here before, and you can just load them up where there's no room for any more yellow jackets. But the fun thing is to put out a piece of sausage or meat and take the salt gun.
Oh.
And you shoot them, and they just adds them to the sausage, and they keep coming.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, it's super fun. Hey, that salt gun will change your feeling about flies.
You like seeing them in the house. It's like sport now.
We all have, it's the only thing we hunt. We hunt and fish, and our hunting is all Musca domestica, fucking house flies.
Yeah.
Occasional shit or horsefly, and of course yellow jackets.
I was really surprised how fun that is too, shooting the flies, and their wings and shit and everything flies all over the place. Here's a video of
I sent Jimmy one, and he blew a hole in his screen, and he, like, Mr. Firearms can't have that in the house now.
I wonder what your, do you know, have you seen your hives yet? Do you know what they look like?
No, I guess like that, right? Totally new to the whole bee thing. I've never been afraid of them though, and I've always enjoyed them.
Oh, so that's how they come. Look at I think that's, they come in a box like that. God, those look like big bees. That guy got killer bees. Is that what Kara said? Like, hey, we got to cruise around the property and get all the yellow jackets? That's part of the setup?
I guess so, because Carlene was yesterday on Yellow Jacket patrol, putting up traps and looking for where they were. You know, they sent Mark to the hospital, the Yellow Jackets on this lot.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. I was at the house.
Yeah.
They live in the ground?
I think you lived here then, right?
No. I didn't. But it was more recently. I was just there at the house, and I remember getting a phone call from him or something.
Yeah.
It was severe, right? I mean, they worked him.
I don't know. He had like a shit ton of bites, and he ended up in the ER.
I have that footage somewhere where you and I watched a yellow jacket grab a huge dragonfly and use his mandibles and cut the eyeball out of the dragonfly at the Rio Del Mar house. Do you remember that?
Yep. That must be the best part.
The tasty part?
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that, shaking them in, like she said.
And you just empty them in like that? Wow. I wonder if we're there watching it, if we have like an exit strategy. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you see this, everyone run into the house and jump in the shower.
Well, there's a famous dance you do, right? Where you're slapping your head and spinning in circles and screaming.
Yeah, you jump into the koi pond with a straw.
No.
Where are these guys going to be?
Who, the bees?
Yeah, on the property.
They run a southeast slope, and so we've got plenty of that, which is perfect. So down below the hot tub.
Oh, down. Okay. During flower blooming season here at my house, I can see, like, as the bushes flower at different times, I can see the traffic of the bees going to certain bushes. I never see their hives, but I can obviously see the direction they're coming from because it's just like a highway, right? They're just going back and forth from a bush. They'll just be like a straight line.
So we'll have 3 colonies, and Kara said that they'll just fly right through each other like there's air traffic control. They're completely fine with each other.
I like all the tools that bee people have. You got a staple gun, you got a brush.
Oh, you know he's crushing some when you put those together.
He acts like he cares. Look how. Oh, no, there's a little gap. So
is there? I thought maybe it's like pegs you put it on.
Yeah. Wild.
That's what they come in and out of.
Wow.
Hey, isn't the fact that they live in like this tight organizational structure, isn't that kind of amazing?
Yeah. Whenever I see bugs doing that, like ants or bees, I just assume that's how China models its government.
I think it might have been racist.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
What does this mean? What's a more difficult interview, Greg or Dave?
Yeah, we would define difficult.
A hive and hive mentality.
National Review used to refer to the collective voice of the left as the hive routinely.
I got a funny one for you.
Is
Speaking of
Dave tough to interview? I wouldn't think so. I have no trouble talking to him.
no, he's fun. He's easy.
He's funny.
It's weird, but in a good way. I want to show you this. Look, I saw this yesterday. I thought of you.
There was someone that was killing it on the lecture circuit, and I was like, Dave, I just don't hear shit. I don't get it. And he said, yeah, me neither. He goes, but that's you and I. He goes, we're weird. And I go, okay, thanks. Now I feel better.
Do you recognize this lady right here from 1983? I don't recognize her.
Who is it?
I don't know. Some news lady.
Yeah, she looks familiar. They both do.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, it's Bernie Sanders. Was that Diane Sawyer or someone?
I don't recognize her, but listen to this. You're gonna love this. Here we go.
Today predicted possible catastrophic warming of the Earth by the 1990s with a strong climate change.
What the scientists are telling us, that we don't get our act together within the next 8 or 9 years. We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
A report today predicted possible catastrophic warming of the Earth by the 1990s with a strong climate change.
What the scientists are telling us, that we don't get our act together within the next 8 or 9 years. We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
Hey, this is religion, right?
Yeah, well, this
is religion.
You know, look up doomsaying and doomsday cults. Just do a Wikipedia dive on that shit. It's a universal variant of a form of mental illness. When I was a kid, the standard cartoon character, the depiction, the graphical depiction of insanity was the guy standing on the curb, looked like a hippie with a sign that said the end is near, where everyone else has got their business suits on, walking back and forth, living in the real world.
That was
remember that? Look it up, Sevi. Pull it up. The end is near, guy. I mean, cartoon. You want me to find it?
The end is near cartoon. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's religion. I always heard. Oh yeah. Okay, I found it.
Sure.
Oh no, this might be a little different, but these are variations on it.
Oh, I got it. It's all over. I put the end is near cartoon, and it comes up shit ton of images.
This stuff right here. The end is near. Life. Like and share if you agree. The end is near. Are we there yet? The end is near the end.
Yeah. Look at the character. It's a.
Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, and they even did the whole climate change one here. Let me see if I can find this. Oh, damn it. I lost it. It won't let me show it.
They couldn't figure out if we were all going to freeze a la nuclear winter or if we were going to boil over. And so now they just got climate change. And so no matter what is detected, it counts. See? And it's nice because it lets you live outside of the reality that there's never been a period without climate change.
The end is near. The end is near. Meteorologist. The end is near. Oh, yeah. So this is kind of a spin on it. The meteorologist is also, the religious guys are saying the end is near, and then the guy in the suit is saying the end is near, and they're on the same page, but for different reasons.
My point is that there's always been doomsday cults, and doomsaying seems to be It's like hearing voices and seeing things and having visions from the prophet and shit. It's the institutions, our mental institutions are full of those people.
It's just wild. When I saw that Bernie Sanders and her, I was like, that was the first. I've always heard that climate change is like a religion, and I never got it until I saw both of them saying it, and I was like, holy shit, I see it now. So when people say they don't have religion, all you have to be is like, well, do you believe that in climate change? And if they say yes, we go, well, you do, but you do have a religion.
I don't see less religion in the irreligious they got just a different God. It's the state.
Right. It's what the state's telling them.
Mm-hmm.
Greg C, are they false prophets? Well, that's always a nice twist too. Hey, did you see Charlie Kirk's talk on Israel by any chance?
No.
He doesn't come out and say it, but one of the reasons, the implication is that basically people want to get rid of Israel to basically get rid of Christianity. So if you get rid of Israel, you get rid of the amusement park that is the place to go see all of the highlights of the story, right? You can see where Jesus cried. You can see where Jesus was born. You can see where Bethlehem. You can see where he was raised, Nazareth. You can see all those spots. And so if you get rid of it, you get rid of Christianity. And I've never been a big supporter of amusement parks, but boy, I think that one might be a good one to keep.
The Jews are symbolic. Israel is emblematic of the best of Western civilization, and really the only kind of spot of it over there. And it'll be hated for exactly that.
For its success.
Because it's a fantastic expression of the values of Western civilization and culture. From a low infant mortality to its wealth, to the amount of electricity it produces, the wealth it creates, it's all to be hated. I still find the idea of Columbia University without Jews to be a laughable notion.
Because New York City is the home base for Jews, for successful Jews.
Because of their incomparable contribution to that institution. I mean, look, let's talk about Nobel Prizes without Jews. What do you want to look at? What would that look like?
I wonder if I type in how many Nobel Prizes have Jews won. %20 of the recipients of the Nobel Prize have been Jews. Wow. And they make up less than 0.2% of the world's population. 0.2%.
Someone said they control the world. I go, that's bullshit. Just the arts and medicine and science and law and literature and
entertainment.
Just the most important and beautiful things in the world. That's where you'll find them. And that's the reason to hate them. Because you hate all those things.
Of the 965 individual recipients of the Nobel Prize and the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences between 1901 and 1923, 214 of them have been Jews. Oh, how many Muslims have won the Nobel Prize? 15. Half of them in the 21st century. The Nobel Prize has kind of lost its luster too, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anti-Semitism is anti-Americanism.
What do you mean by that? What's the connection there?
They're have always been and remain an integral part of Western civilization, Western culture. And divorce us of our Judeo-Christian classical foundations, and you'll have what? Libya? What?
Right.
What do you want? Saudi Arabia? Iran? Where's your cup of tea?
There isn't one over there. Oh, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. I mean, as long as you're on the right side, they have 6 million servants and 300,000 citizens or something like that. So as long as you're one of the 300,000, it's probably okay. Do you remember those numbers they were telling us? How many servants?
Yeah. I paid pretty close attention to what I could while over there, and I was, for what it is, I was impressed. I mean, if you don't know the difference between there and Iran, you're stupid. Remember, we could stand there and see Iran across the way.
Right. Yeah, 5 million servants in the UAE. I don't see the 12% of the population is citizen, 88% is servants.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I mean, they're there from where? From Pakistan and India and shit?
Yeah, from all over the world.
Yeah.
From all over the
Looking
world.
for what? A better way of life?
Right, yeah, a job.
And okay.
And they have no crime there. Like zero.
When people tell me about someone walking 600 miles to get a job making tennis shoes in Vietnam, or you were with me when one of our affiliates was talking about how horrible it was that half of the people that worked at Walmart qualified for welfare.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I don't, I'm supposed to wish for unemployment amongst the poor. I'd let people on welfare get jobs and keep the money and the benefit.
Do you know the
Wouldn't that be using it to get ahead?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. I mean, basically, my parents came here and my dad drove a forklift. He was a security guard. He did the servants' jobs. He was here so he could get ahead and then scrape money together and opened his first liquor store. I mean, it's just your classic Middle Eastern story.
Super cool.
And my mom was the first woman to go to her law school. And my family escaped, obviously, my family and Haley's family escaped real genocide, real Holocaust, not what's going on in Gaza. Hey, do you know the story? Do you know Malcolm Gladwell's take on the Jews? Have you heard? Do you remember reading what he said? How when they came to the United States?
No.
Basically, I think it's in first, just sort of on a parallel story. The Rothschilds. I think it was Frankfurt, but I can't remember, or maybe it was in Hungary. Maybe it was in Hungary, but the Jews weren't allowed into the inside the city walls. And also they were forced to live outside the city walls in the ghetto, you know, in the deplorable conditions with all the shit. And basically you weren't allowed to lend money inside the city walls. And so this guy, Rothschild, he just said, okay, I'm going to start lending people money. And he started a little fucking money lending, organization, basically a bank outside the city walls. And before he died, he had sent his 5 sons to places like London, Vienna, Paris, Naples, and they started lending money to the governments of these nation states to fight their wars, and they became filthy rich. Well, Malcolm Gladwell's take on the Jews is when they came to the United States, they were basically fleeing Europe, right? And they also had the low-paying jobs of being they were is it called textiles? They were basically seamstresses. They made clothing, right, for the rich people in the foreign lands that they were escaping. And when they came to the United States, I guess it was during the Industrial Revolution, when all of a sudden there was shitloads of textiles and materials. And so they all of a sudden, in their poor jobs, all of a sudden became extremely valuable, right? And so they became clothing manufacturers in New York. And they took all their money, and you know what they did with it? They sent their kids to college to become doctors and lawyers. And here we are today.
My grandfather had a girlfriend named Lillian, whose husband had died years ago, long before we knew her. But their family was in the clothing manufacturing business, Jewish family. And when World War II broke out, they got a contract to make army uniforms and became filthy rich.
And were they not filthy rich before? They weren't
They were
rich
doing
before.
well, but the war was very good to them.
It's just interesting how these people culturally, just no matter what you do to them, they just keep coming back.
I met a guy in Santa Cruz who was an efficiency expert during the war and got a chunk of the savings he provided to the Department of War, and it made him wealthy.
He got a chunk of what?
Of the savings so they look at tank assembly and go, you know, if you did this and that and this, you'd save this much money, and he got a chunk of.
Oh.
He found enough inefficiencies to create personal wealth. I don't think that's unusual. I think that in the times of war, there's isn't there a tremendous upside for somebody with all the weaponry we're sending to Ukraine?
Oh, I mean, we had more billionaires created during the pandemic, than any other time, I think, in U.S. history. Anytime that there's chaos, someone is making shitloads of money off it.
This gets to my everything that's wrong is wrong on purpose.
Yeah. By the way, the CA peptide site is down. There's none of the hosts in the United States will host them. There's not one hosting site that will host their site. So basically, if you want to get peptides, you have to email them now. contact@capeptides.com. I saw someone asking.
Why don't they set up their own server?
They are. You mean offshore? They are.
No, it doesn't. You can do it in your garage.
Yeah, but I think for some legal reasons, you can't do it out of the United States.
What?
Probably more control over Big Pharma, right? They don't want you putting peptides.
Selling things on the net. Is that the problem?
Yeah, and the pharma is really against peptides, like really, really, really against peptides. You know, people finding their own way, their own pathway to their health.
Interesting. I got a buddy who's getting on jet to go to Cancun to get stem cells, and he's perfectly healthy. He just doesn't want to miss out, you know.
Is it he can't get it done in the United States?
Maybe they don't have the good ones here. I don't know, buddy. I don't know.
I feel like a lot of people go to Mexico for stem cells. I feel like I keep hearing that over and over.
I'm amused, just wildly amused at that.
that someone would go to Mexico for something health related when we're here in the greatest country in the world?
I can't help but snicker around any of the longevity movement or longevity experts. And they commit the same kind of epistemological sin.
In 2014, Harvard Medical School began investigating Pierre Anversa. By the way, he's considered the godfather of stem cell research, a cardiologist and former leader in stem cell research, for falsifying data in his papers. Anversa claimed to have discovered stem cells in the heart that could regenerate cardiac muscles. But in his 2011 study, The Lancet was retracted in 2019 after an investigation revealed fabrication. I've looked into this story before. I think 30 of the seminal papers on stem cell research were done by him, and he's the godfather of stem cell research, and all of them have been retracted. It's crazy, right? A Harvard cardiologist.
When did this come out? I've learned to not, I hear anything about stem cells and I just stop listening. So I could have.
Stem cell research shattered after fabrication scandal, needs to rebuild, says EHJ editor. The fraud is well known by now. Pierre Anversa, MD, PhD, a former giant of stem cell research, was found to have falsified and fabricated data in more than 30 research papers. I think it's 2019, April 12, 2019. Such an earthquake has rarely, if ever, shattered a research field. Well, that's not true.
Oh, bullshit.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Where do we start? Want to talk about cholesterol, the causes of obesity, Alzheimer's research? Anyone? We got entire fields of bullshit created by bullshit.
Like women's studies?
No. Like preclinical oncology and hematology.
Tyler Watkins, a ton of funding is being committed to longevity and anti-aging at my university. We have hired a ton of faculty researching the matter.
Hey, let's do a what's the Google effort? What was it called? Calico?
Oh, to make people live forever?
Yeah, it was. They were going to crack the code. They were going to use their extraordinary data methods to provide global health.
In 2018, an investigation committee from Harvard Medical School stated that the results from 31 papers published by Anversa Laboratory could not be trusted and recommended they be retracted. More than a dozen of these papers have since been yanked by various journals, including the Lancet, New England Journal of Medicine, Circulation, and Circulation Research.
What was the method of fraud? Is it fabricated data? Is it
Photoshop?
Here, what are they doing? Yeah, is it Photoshop? That's my favorite. I'm a super fan of that shit. The line "There's no disease Photoshop can't cure" is like, it's just so fucking cool.
Let me see. I'll type in how was Anversa caught fraudulent? And of course, it had federal funding. Let me see.
Everything does. I don't think you have shit unless you get NIH money.
Let me see if I can.
Cold in here, Sevi.
Let me see if I can find that. Within a year of Riccardi's arrival in 2011, they grew suspicious. The scientists recalled they couldn't replicate the seminal findings.
Yeah, we're not hearing the mechanism of bust.
And became concerned that the data and images of cells were being manipulated. So it is Photoshop. It was Photoshop.
Yeah, there we go.
Anversa and his deputy gruffly dismissed their questions. They took their concerns to Brigham officials, telling that the Anversa blockbuster results appeared to have been fake.
Right back. Keep talking.
After an investigation lasting almost 6 years, Brigham and Harvard wrote in a 2-paragraph statement that they had found falsified or fabricated data in 31 papers. The fabrication of data and images. in the seeking of government grants and engaged in reckless and deliberately misleading record keeping. Oh man, Greg, can you hear me? Greg, you must be turning up the heat. You ready for this? Testing. 1, 2. I'll ask him this question in 1 second. Hold on. I'll ask him this question in 1 second. Hold on. Check, Greg.
Yes.
Listen to this. Since 2001, the National Institute of Health, NIH, spent $500 million on heart research. Reuters found in its analysis of government data more than $250 million of the total has been awarded since March 2013 by the time the federal government had been informed of the fabrication allegations against Anversa, according to documents and interviews with sources familiar with the matter. Damn. Hey, do you watch horror movies?
No, I don't. No.
Any? Do you have any interest in them?
Yeah, I mean, I did when they were scary, but it doesn't.
I don't
My
enjoy
kid-
them at all.
My kids get nothing out of it either. I mean, which surprised me because when I was little, but they might be overstimulated with real horrors, you know?
They're pretty. They don't have too many of those. Like what? There's a bee in the pool.
They saw Child's Play and they thought it was hilarious, and they're all imitating Chucky, and they fucking loved it.
Oh God, that movie scared the shit out of me.
It did me too, but when I was, almost grown, and I thought it was scary. I watched it with them. They fucking loved it.
Greg, can you please comment on your mentality never bringing up your polio and the effects? Was this taught to you, or did you adopt this on your own?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's I don't have an answer for that.
It's just not a subject. Did you ever fall deeply into research about it?
Nope.
It was never. I guess you didn't have the internet then as a kid.
Yeah. I don't. I'm not one to find excuse or I think that the obstacles that prevent success on almost any front are mental.
Like self-implied.
Yes.
Who taught you that? How did you know that? You never felt sorry for yourself? Well, I shouldn't say you never felt sorry for yourself. You never used it as an excuse?
No, I mean, like what? Like get the good parking spot and shit?
Yeah, yeah. Right. Oh,
No.
or just like get out of stuff in school or just shit like that.
Nope.
You kind of went the opposite way with it, right? Like, hey, fuck you, I'm going to do this because you might think I can't.
Yeah. I mean, what else would you do?
I mean, I've known all sorts of people.
I mean, that kind of thing. I think from the outside, something like that looks heroic.
To never use it as an excuse.
To take what you have and do your very best with it.
Right.
And to find that what looks like a deficit to us may not be.
Right.
I mean, is it like look at I enjoyed the example of Django Reinhardt and his withered hand burned in fire, right? As a child.
Okay.
And widely regarded by many to be the world's greatest guitar player.
Oh, with only one hand.
With 3 fingers? No, I mean, check him out. He had a fucked up hand. And so, would you expect that do you expect his hand to be his favorite subject?
No.
Turn it up.
The most influential and Django Reinhardt has been called the greatest guitarist who ever lived. Reinhardt remains the most influential and famous European jazz musician to date. There are arguably a few competitors for this distinction, big-name musicians like John Mc.
Let's see if I can find. Let me see if I can find him playing.
French traditional, gypsy music, and piano, as if all else is left to play and playing skills. With great determination, he invented a new way of playing the guitar.
Okay. I don't see him anywhere playing. Maybe they couldn't get.
Yeah, you're going all over it. It's easy. That's a bunch of that is there. But anyways,
I'm just concerned if I play more than 7 seconds.
My point is that Django Reinhardt's hand is a subject for people probably.
There's one simple vision hack.
Django was.
Right. I got to watch an ad for this one. Why is that? Crazy. Yeah, I totally see your point. It's heroic.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. From his perspective, it wouldn't be.
Because it's all he knows.
Yeah. I mean, what do you? Right.
I hadn't.
Look at the people we call heroic and talk to them, and they tell the same story. And I'm not claiming to be a hero, but things look very different from outside than they do inside. Do you see the guy that just passed away that was like 50 or 60 years in iron lung?
No shit.
Yeah, he just died.
Wow.
And he, I guess he was a successful lawyer. And he had a good attitude.
Wow. For those of you who don't know what an iron lung is, it's a machine that I guess through pressure inside the cage pulls your chest up and down and basically does the breathing for you.
Are you ready for the interview?
I'm ready when you're ready.
What would you like to say to the world?
When I was 6 years old, back in the ancient times.
What year was it?
I'm sorry?
What year was it?
1952. I was 6 years old and playing in my backyard like every other 6-year-old. And I didn't feel good, so I went in, told my mom, I don't feel good. And like every other parent in that day and time, she panicked.
Is it okay if I sit beside you? Pull up a chair?
Okay, please do whatever. Let yourself at home.
What was the environment around polio like back in the 1950s? Was everybody worried all the time?
Fear. Everybody was so scared of polio. It's a horrible disease. Well, when it attacks, it will leave you dead or crippled for life.
He spent 50 years in that thing.
Is that the number?
Paul survived polio in the 50s and has used an iron lung to breathe ever since. More than 50, 60. He passed away March 11th, 2024.
Yeah.
For surviving polio as a child. He lived over 70 years inside an iron lung. Wow.
That's his longevity secret.
Oh, that's what Calico should be looking up? Getting an iron lung?
Our friend Tommy Hollenstein has exceeded his life expectancy. He's quadriplegic by what, 30 years or something?
Yeah, and you're right. He went to law school. Yeah, has that guy? He's exceeded by 30 years.
Something like that.
When I have like adaptive athletes on here, like people like I had Tim Murray on here, the fittest dwarf in the world, and basically I got the impression from him that he feels like he needs to show what can be done so that other people, I guess, now that we're talking about this, other people in his situation won't feel sorry for themselves. Like, hey, basically, like, look what I did. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Look what I'm doing. Like, to be an inspiration to others.
Yeah, and so you got the guy in Iron Lung, and he's being interviewed because he's in the Iron Lung, and so he has no choice to talk about the Iron Lung.
Right.
But think what the real him is probably more closely related to what he's doing as a lawyer.
Right. Right. I see.
And what a joy it'd be to share that, use that vehicle for interaction.
Right. Right.
I mean, if talking about yourself, it's the solipsism there, the curse of that. It's like I know Rodney Mullen has talked about a removable fame. Like he's world famous at the skate ramp, but he goes 3 miles away from it and he's nobody. And it's like, he's got that detachable fame.
Right.
You live in an iron lung and you don't.
Right.
The worst thing about it would be everyone tripping on you.
Right. Two things on that note.
And this is being an iron lung would be like being Brad Pitt. There's never a moment of anonymity.
Right.
Can you imagine that hell? Everyone's pointing at you. Look, oh my God, it's Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt. Wherever you fucking go.
Right.
Anywhere in the world.
Right.
That feels like some. I'm not saying it would cause mental illness. It feels like a burden of the mentally ill. And enjoying it would be insane.
Right. To never be able to escape from yourself.
Yeah, just no one will let you.
Right. There's people. When I've interviewed certain people,
we find purpose outside of self.
Right.
And
peace and happiness. And peace and happiness.
Self.
Yeah. Yep. I've said it a million times on this show. There's this Taoist saying, stop thinking and stop thinking. I forget the exact thing, but stop thinking and you'll achieve happiness. Oh, stop thinking and all your problems will go away.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Someone gave me Rick Warren's book, A Purpose-Driven Life.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get past the first sentence. And I closed the book and I go, he's right. I don't even need to read this fucking thing. And the first sentence was, it's not about you.
Mm.
And I was like, finally, perfect. It's not.
Two things that I've spotted is when someone is, I don't know, has a ton of attention on them for a prolonged period of time. One of the unfortunate incidents, catastrophes that happens around that is that they don't know how to have conversation anymore. If you're not asking them a question about themselves, they don't know how to talk, right? And they're just horrible conversationalists. And then the other thing I noticed in the CrossFit space, which is very interesting that you bring up Rodney Mullen, is some people get confused that they actually think that they're famous because they either live on their Instagram or they're always in a CrossFit gym where everyone knows them, and they have forgotten that if they walk 100 feet away from the CrossFit space, no one knows who they are or gives a fuck, and they can't get past that. God, it must be. I never thought of it so clearly, like what you said about Brad Pitt. That must be fucking crazy. That must be horrible.
Insane.
Yeah. You're always Brad Pitt. You can never just be like, I'm free.
Okay, there's no people watching.
Right.
He can't watch people.
Heidi Klum, should kids still get polio vaccine?
Yeah, I don't know. For $1.99.
Heidi, there is a an interview going around now that I just saw recently. It's new, and the author of the book, The Moth and the Iron Lung, the author's name is Forrest Maready, Maready, and he talks about his journey with vaccines in terms of through all the research he's done. And he was a huge proponent of vaccines, and he talks about his journey after writing the book, The Moth and in the Iron Lung, and it's pretty wild. It's pretty damn wild. Someone in here asked what you think about the CERN. I wonder where that question is.
I just give me a chance to recommend Lost in Math by Hoffenstetter.
Yeah.
Sabina's book.
Yeah. If you want to know about the CERN, yeah, definitely.
To plug E.T. Jane's Probability Theory, the Logic of Science, on specifically the Solvay conference of 1927. Look, I've got to.
I listened to this audiobook, by the way. If you have questions about the CERN, listen to this. It'll really bum you out. Lost in Math. She's a physicist, a German physicist. And as Greg said, I agree with him. I don't know if she knows really what she uncovered. Oh, yeah. What about those guys?
Well, that was the Solvay conference of 1927. And the problems at CERN and the problems in theoretical physics are related to the decision there, the consensus decision that the probability used to describe that was at the heart of quantum mechanics, that was ontological rather than epistemological. And James said it was a devastating mistake. And there's a kind of a beauty to this, irony in that it's the smartest assemblage maybe of human beings ever. And they did something very non-scientific. They voted, apparently, and they got it wrong. The world's smartest assemblage of human beings, certainly of scientists ever, reached a consensus, and they came to the wrong conclusion, it looks. And I think that the work of R.T. Cox and Jaynes and Polya and the whole of the probability theory and the modern expression of it is coming to terms with that. And it was interesting at our little event in Scottsdale we just did to have astrophysicists of some renown speaking somewhat apologetically and defensively of the Solvay guys. That, hey, we know more now, but it's interesting to me, fascinating even. In fact, the beauty of the picture, and I have a print of it framed. What I like is that the method of consensus science is a failed method, even when you have a room full of the smartest scientists to have ever lived. There's still an enormous opportunity to get it exactly fucking wrong. And this relates to CERN. It relates to, very much so, directly. The problems were predicted by Einstein, by Bohr, and by E.T. Jaynes. By the way, Jaynes, who wrote Probability Theory, the Logic of Science, was the youngest invitee by Einstein to his 70th birthday party, which is kind of an interesting little bit of history and physics.
Can you see the vote? Was it unanimous?
I don't know I don't know the details of that, but
Okay.
we have a pretty good sense of it being Einstein versus Bohr, and there's a lot's been said on it. And it comes to this idea of whether probability inheres in nature. Is it ontological, or is it in our heads? Is it epistemological, or is it ontological? And Jaynes and Einstein were of the view that the probability is a measure of a logical, rational measure of certainty.
And that's what you believe also.
Yeah, I do.
Sounds logical.
It doesn't inhere in the object. No, I think that's, and man, that argument, you sit in good company,
If Einstein thought that, but he was at this conference, you're saying he voted against that?
Everyone was there. All the greats. There's, what's the number? I don't want to make it up. Is it 19 Nobel Prize winners there? Past, present, future. It's fun to, with the kids, just pick anyone from the pictures and look them up. And Riley had asked, who's that goofy guy? Let's learn about him. And it was Einstein. I go, this is rich. So you can just put little biographies on suitable for kids,
And one woman.
Marie Curie was there, and she's the only person to be given a Nobel Prize in chemistry and physics. She made a younger daughter a lab assistant when she was a little kid, and that daughter got a Nobel Prize in physics.
Wow.
Her husband had a Nobel Prize.
Wow.
I mean, she's one of the smartest people who've ever walked the planet. Brilliant woman.
What was her name again?
Brilliant, but they voted on something important, and it came out wrong.
What was her name again?
Marie Curie. Her husband's there too, Pierre. But what a great thing to share with kids and adults and physicists.
She was also the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize.
Yes. Do you know David Hastinens that showed up at our event? He is also of that probability inheres in it's a measure of our rational uncertainty, or rational certainty.
Damn, dude. Listen to this. You already said all this, but they worded a little different. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, the first person to win a Nobel Prize twice, the only person to win a Nobel Prize in 2 scientific fields. Her husband, Pierre Curie, was a co-winner of her first Nobel Prize, making them the first married couple ever to win the Nobel Prize and launching the Curie family legacy of 5 Nobel Prizes. She was the first woman to become a professor at the University of Paris. Is she a Jew? It says she was born in Warsaw.
I don't know.
But it'd be a good guess. Oh, she died in a street accident in Paris. No wonder. I thought she died young. Damn. Both remain major medical research centers. During World War I, she developed mobile radiography units to provide X-ray services to field hospitals. Zach Sneed, Sevon, I just had stem cell treatment done on my labrum and AC joints this past Monday. Had surgery on it in 2014 and tore it again leading up to the open. Does Greg know of stem cells for injuries? I mean, that's what it's for, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
How come you haven't used stem cells in your shoulder? You got a wonky shoulder, right?
Yeah, I'm just I'm not enthusiastic about any medical treatment of any sort, probably. It would be fair to say.
There we go. Should kids still get polio vax?
That's the second time that's come up.
I didn't give my kids it. If that, I'm no doctor. Turntable.
We're like divided even on whether you should spray off to keep eaten by bugs or not.
Yeah.
And Maggie was devoutly anti-off and got leishmaniasis.
Is she pro off now?
Yeah, we're putting that shit on everything.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to get another tropical disease with a parasite that caused a miscarriage. I mean, it gives you a different perspective. Right?
Yeah. Totally.
Anyone out there worried about leishmaniasis? Probably not. You get it. You'll have a different perspective.
Turntable. It's interesting you bring this up. He says, is this similar to why we see cultures living in poverty being great athletes? Being a kid, you don't know you're poor, but your circumstances result in athletics being the only thing you have. Yeah. Also, like if you're getting beaten at home, or just there's all sorts of things. Like you could be rich and be getting beaten at home, and you'll spend more time at the park or shit like that. Or, it's interesting.
Dave became a SEAL because he watched The Rock and he told his dad he wanted to be a SEAL, and his dad laughed and said, "You could never do that." That's all he needed, and that's such a perfect fit for him. That's such if I had heard that story from other than him, and you'd ask me who it was true of, I go, it sounds like Dave.
He had some other circumstances too.
He's a powerful individual. Don't tell him what he can't do.
But he kind of needed to get out of his house too.
What kind of father laughs at you and tells you you're never going to fucking achieve something that significant?
A good one, apparently.
You're right. It's abusive, and he overcame it.
I've had 2 conversations in my house in the last 6 months about abortion with liberals, and both of them ended up saying that the reason why they think that the baby should be killed is because they would be raised into a life of poverty. That's where we got to. And I didn't push back. I just listened, right? I kept just fishing. And I said, well, what do you care? I go, don't you think it's killing a baby? And they said, yeah, but who cares about it if the baby is going to be raised in poverty? And I was like, wow.
And it's funny. And I know who you're arguing with. And I would think that their poverty is one of the distinctive aspects of their existence.
Yes, one of them for sure. I don't think the other one was my friend's wife, but the other one was a family member. And you're right. It was he.
I'm talking about the pair of them.
Yeah, well, one of them is the poorest person I've ever known, by far. Lived in a concrete hut with 8 siblings and 2 parents, in a 10 by 10 concrete hut with no bathroom and no electricity. Was raised in that life. And yet finds it okay to kill a baby if you suspect it's going to grow up in poverty. I mean, I was flabbergasted. But once they take that stance, I don't know what to say. I'm like, wow, you said that. I think you have to just sit with that. The fact that you said that out loud. I feel like my job is done here. You know what I mean? Like, you think it's okay to kill poor people? I mean, but both Democrats, by the way. I don't think it's okay to kill people because of their poor or the circumstance that they'll be born into. I don't think that's a justification for it. And I also think, I don't know if you're the one who presented this to me, but I think it was you. We were looking at a picture in a Mexican restaurant, and it showed the volcano, and it showed the guy putting the baby in the fire, right, as sacrifice. And then in every Mexican restaurant, you and I would go and like find that photo. And then I think years later,
You throw in the volcano.
Yeah, they throw a hot chick too. Yeah, or a kid. Yeah, hot chick. Sorry, but
a hot chick.
Okay, fine, a hot chick. But years later, I think you presented it to me, and I think it was recently. I think it was you. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. But you were like, yeah, so you're a 25-year-old woman and you want to go to law school, but you got pregnant, so you have an abortion. And I think you said to me, or someone said to me, what is that? And I'm like, that they said that's child sacrifice for yourself to get what you want. And I was like, wow, I never thought of it like that. Was that you who told me that?
I don't think so, but
Oh. Fondal, CEO. Nice to see you, Fawn. Coach, is it possible that the NSCA money used to buy you, I don't understand the question. Is it possible that, oh, you mean like they settled the case, got the money and then gave it to Greg, or that they ahead of time they knew that they were going to settle the case and they would recoup costs that they bought it from Greg?
I got paid before it settled.
Right.
I would recommend to the caller to learn to diagram sentences, and you can, in the diagramming, you can tell if something doesn't make sense, you won't be able to diagram it.
Oh, for him.
Yeah. But I think that the NSCA didn't have any money to buy me out. They didn't have any money to buy me. They couldn't come close to it. They couldn't have. They were ordered to give me $4 or $5 million and right away, and they didn't have it. We knew they didn't have it. And then they all of a sudden came up with it, and we had an internal discussion. Is like, is this illegal what we're doing? Because I got a foundation that didn't have the cash on the books, and now out of their ass they pulled out cash. And they did some kind of wonky loan through friends of their board, and all of it would have been, in my sense of things, in the way I viewed and my lawyers viewed our foundation, is that what they did on their end was illegal.
And I want to be clear, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but that $4 to $6 million that they were ordered to pay CrossFit had nothing to do with fines or money that Greg was going to get. It was because the judge had already seen so much corruption and the legal fees were mounting so big.
They forced us. They hid hundreds of thousands of emails and then dumped them on us 30, 40 days before we needed to be back in court. And rather than saying it's impossible to go through that many emails, we funded a global legal effort to go through that many emails in 30 days, and it cost $4 or $5 million. And the judge found that a reasonable thing for us to do and ordered them to pay it in immediately. And we looked at each other like they don't have that money. We'd already been inside out through their finances in suing them. So they didn't have the cash, but they did come up with it.
How many times did the judge ask you, hey, do you want to settle? Was that like a on the regular?
Yeah.
Like, hey, they lost. How much money do you want?
It kept coming up what we were after, and I taught everyone to say, and by the way, I don't think it's understood, but we did an enormous amount of litigation, and I was always in charge of the legal strategy, always. The attorneys only work tactically.
I watched that.
But the strategy was always mine. It was my decision to deny a $10,000 settlement and spend almost $1 million turning that $10,000 into zero.
You're talking about the case on the East Coast with the CrossFit gym.
That was a Texas Rhabdo case in particular, where the Rhabdo attorney picks up his buddy. They go to a CrossFit gym, and the next thing, we're being sued for Rhabdo. And at the end, they were willing to just take $10,000 and walk away. And we told them to fuck off. And that was $1 million decision. And in the end, the verdict was the zero. He got zero from a jury.
But if you and that's also because
I had 15,000 affiliates. I didn't want to settle for $10,000.
But that was also because you were smart enough to create the RRC also so that you wouldn't have an insurance company that's just settling shit based on economics rather than principle.
It was nice to be able to control that in favorably for the affiliates. Is the risk retention group still around?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Maybe someone else. Jay Wade, my wife is pregnant with our first. I had seizures as a child that stopped at age 5. Could be vax related. Her brother's heart stopped after MMR shot as child. We are partly on the fence about vax. I want to tell you this. I can show you 100,000 people in 15 minutes who regret getting injections. I cannot show you one person, nor have I ever heard one story, anecdotally or not, of someone who wishes they would have gotten it. Not one. I've never heard anyone say, "Hey, I wish I would have got any injection of any kind." Even tetanus, the real scary one. I don't know. I do not know. I've never heard anyone say, "Hey, I wish I would have got my kid that." As a matter of fact, all of my friends whose kids don't have the injection, we all kind of look at each other and
is there any vaccine you'd give your kid?
No.
Okay. How about no? There is or there isn't.
I mean, if he got tetanus, I probably, if like he stepped on a rusty nail, we'd probably like re-examine it. You know,
not if he got tetanus, but if stuck with a rusty nail.
Stuck with a rusty nail. There's no preemptive alteration of their
only one you would. Is that the tetanus? The only thing?
The only one I can think of off the top of my head. There's no alteration.
How about rabies?
Is rabies considered a vaccine? I think it's like a treatment protocol, right? Is it a vaccine?
I think you get vaccinated.
Yeah, probably not. There's no alteration.
If you got bit by a rabid dog, you're like, no, I'm just gonna die.
Well, do you know my story about the rabid dog I got bit by? I was in India and I was in a slum, like a massive slum, bigger than the size of LA and much cleaner than LA, a clean slum. And I was over by the well, the biggest well you've ever seen. It was fucking 40 feet across, and there's 100 kids there with buckets pulling water out of this fucking well in a city built of mud. And I'm filming there, and I see this dog behind me sleeping, and I say to myself, "Hey, don't step on that dog." And what do? I back right up and step on the dog, and the dog bites me through my pant leg and draws blood on my calf. There's a doctor with us who's the doctor of the slum who's hosting us, right? And I'm there with like 4 or 5 people, and they're saying, "Hey, we got to get you to the hospital to start a rabies protocol." And I said, "Why?" They said rabies is very prevalent in India. It's a huge problem here. And so I said, "Okay." I said, "How long have you worked in this village?" And he goes, 13 years. I go, "How many rabies cases have you seen in this village in 13 years? He goes, 0. So I'm good.
So why do you say the dog was rabid?
I just said that just as a.
That's what made the story interesting.
Sorry. Well, good. At least I got you through to the end of it.
You just got bit by a dog.
Yeah, I just got bit by a dog. So like I don't you know, to go back.
And the dog was sleeping and you stepped on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're pretty safe.
A wise man said earlier in the show, "I'm not enthusiastic about any medical treatment of any sort." Probably would be fair to say. Greg Glassman.
Yeah, I'm not I don't want to be the first in line for any fucking thing like that.
Yeah.
I decided against the vaccine absent any evidence of the horrible mistake it's been.
Right, me too.
I saw it in the lead up. The presentation for it was seriously flawed. The diagnostic standard, the bizarre claims of sequencing, all of it was just the numbers games.
What about the sequencing? I never understood that. What was the game around the sequencing? For me, it was just the comorbidities and like who was dying.
They built a vaccine based on the sequencing, and the papers that claim to have found the sequencing, the procedures used aren't procedures used to sequence something. And what was left out was the was the electrophoresis and the differentiated centrifugation and the particle isolation that has to precede any kind of lysing for a sequencing event.
Sequencing means to identify it. Is that how?
Yeah, to tell you what the genetic structure of it was. And there seemed to be some confidence that we had it, and the papers that were touting that were not, that is not what happened in those papers. And it got called out pretty clearly by some, and it was neat. One of the places that this shit it was one of the places it didn't get weeded out was in the comments of a YouTube article on PCR. And so the censors at YouTube, I don't think they're smart enough to really read the comments, you know? They got someone who takes offense at the video, and there was nothing offensive in the video. But there were people there that were claiming this study, all or where it was sequenced. And people quickly came back with even a longer list of studies that were claiming to have sequenced it. But then it was spelled out in wonderful detail what it looks like to actually sequence, with examples given of how that's done and what it looks like, and how much of the effort depends on the isolation of the particle that you're going to sequence, so you don't have anything else. And the process described was they took sputum from people believed to be infected and sequenced that, and it would have in it bacteria, fungus, all kinds of shit. And so the molecular biologists, the lab people that called bullshit on that, were early and strong on this thing. Now, one of the reasons that you would be pretending to have sequenced it and to maybe be in possession of that sequencing absent the work is that it wasn't naturally occurring, and you know the sequence because you have the blueprint because you made it in the fucking laboratory. And that was all just drama for half-witted journalists, I think.
You knew the make and model of the car that,
because the study says we've sequenced it. It must mean that they've sequenced it.
You know the make and model of the car that robbed the bank because you robbed the bank.
It helps a lot. Yeah.
I was just looking at the numbers for number of people who die in the United States every year from tetanus. In 2019, it was 7.5. In 2018, it was 7.4. In 2017, it was 7.2. And you could argue that the reason why the people aren't dying from it is because...
Wait, that's the number of people that died?
Yeah.
From 7.2?
Yeah, I know. Is tetanus 100% death rate?
7.2% of the people that got it died.
No, number of deaths.
How can it be a fraction of deaths?
Who knows?
Okay.
Who the fuck knows? I'm just telling you what Google's telling me. It was as high as 20 people died a year in 1990. But here's the thing. Once you start doing a little research, especially about polio and tetanus, it basically, if it gets exposed to oxygen, it's toast. Like, to get it, it has to be fucking put directly into your fucking bloodstream. And so you also have to think of this. What are the chances? What are the chances if they give 1 million injections of tetanus a year? What are the chances that some percentage of those have some sort of the dose wasn't correct, or that the medicine was compromised, or just all the things that lead to human error before someone injects something into you? You're not going to inject anything, no matter how safe, into fucking 300 million people and no one die. Someone's going to like fall on the swallow the needle. At least one person's going to accidentally swallow the needle and die. I mean, so you have to start like playing that numbers game. At least that's what I do. If I got bit by a rattlesnake, I would rush to the doctor right away and get the antivenom. I did not apologize to the dog. Great question. Maybe I did. I was a dirty hippie. Maybe I did.
You pronounced him rabid.
Yeah, that was rude.
You got even with him.
Daniel Jennings, is my son an anomaly for getting him vaccinated and just turned 11 and is healthy and one of the top 2 kids on his competitive soccer team? No, most kids are vaccinated. He's not an anomaly. Vast majority. You're far from an anomaly.
So getting them vaccinated, and like all like including COVID.
So here, poliovirus can survive in water for long periods of time. It doesn't have to go into your blood to get infected. It does have to go into your blood to get infected. It does have to go into your blood to get infected. You can drink. It has to pass when you swallow it. It has to. You won't get polio unless you have leaky gut. It has to get into your bloodstream. It has to be put into your bloodstream. It has to. You have to have leaky gut, or it has to pass into the whatever the. I don't know what the term is. But you can find, I don't even know what the virus is, what they call poliococcus or whatever. You can find that in everybody. Also had to get vaccinated when I went to Brazil. They wouldn't let me travel unless I had it. Some mosquito could bite me and kill me. Yeah, I had to do all that too. I remember traveling to Africa. I had to get all sorts of shots. Yellow fever. I had to take some live something or another. Corey Leonard, if anyone brings a COVID vaccine anywhere near my kids, they better have good insurance. Hey, when you were a kid, did they used to give shots at the school? I was trying to remember if we used to get shots at school.
Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah. I think we used to get shots at school. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Fun chilling with you.
Let's eat.
You want to see something fun here? Let me see if I can. You'll like this. Let's leave on this note. This is a really fun. I played this yesterday on the show, but it never gets old. Okay, here we go.
So what percent of our atmosphere is CO2?
Repeat that question.
What percent of our atmosphere is CO2, carbon dioxide?
About 5%.
5?
We'll go 7. I'll see their 5 and suggest that we know that transportation causes 49% of CO2. So that's why we're all working on energy transition.
All right. So what number do you think it is?
5.
5. Do you have one, Mr. Boyd?
So we got a 5, 7, 8. We'll get the high end.
All right. The answer is 0.04%. Not 1%, not 0.5%. It's 0.04%. It's gone up from 0.03 in the last couple of decades. This is what we're being all contorted into doing, is this tiny change in CO2. If we get below 0.02, plant life starts dying. Panelists.
Isn't that amazing? The experts.
Yeah, who was that asking the question?
I forget. I looked it up. It's some hearing. I forget. Let me see if maybe it says in here. And that was like the transportation secretary or something back then. If it drops below 0.02, plant life starts dying. I heard that I read recently there's 15% more plant life on the planet than there was 10 years ago. I don't know how they measure that. You worried about climate change?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
No. There's going to be climate change. There always has been.
When I drive to your house, it's going to be significantly different than my house. In our little micro climates.
Yeah, we're in the age of hysteria.
All right, good seeing you. I'll give you a call shortly. The boys are going skating at noon.
Okay, you taking them?
No, I think I'm gonna have Haley take them so we can hang out.
Cool. I'll see you in a bit.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Glassman. What is today? Today's Wednesday, garbage day. I hope I took the garbage out. Tomorrow, Liz Collin. Oh, yes, Liz Collin, George Floyd movie, The Fall of Minneapolis. If you haven't seen that, let me see. It's on YouTube. Fall of Minneapolis. I think I can finally say that word. I'll put the link in the chat here. Bam, there you go. I can't bring myself to watch it. It'll just make me angry. It's so bad. I don't know a good spot for margaritas near the Carson Stadium. I am staying with all the boys at a big old house that CA Peptides rented us. And I'm bringing down shitloads of podcast gear so that we can all podcast together. You know, all I can think about is circle jerk. Yes, all I can think about is Saturday. Last week we were supposed to have Tyson Bajan on with us, and he got called into training camp last minute. But he will be here this Saturday unless he gets called into training camp again. Normally, I think he has Fridays and Saturdays off, so it'll be really cool. I had to put Pedro on ice for this week so we can get Tyson on the screen. So it'll be me, Hiller, Tyler, Tyson Bajent, and then Taylor we'll just pop right on. We'll do a quick recap of the previous week, very short, and then after that, Taylor will do the workout, and then someone can try to win the $1,000. All right. It's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on 10 a.m. Saturday Pacific Standard Time. Got an extra room in that house? No. We already had to kick Hiller out, unfortunately. Although it would be fun to have you there, Jeremy. No, I don't know when the workout's posted. For Kill Taylor, I don't know when that's posted. I don't want to give anyone a heads up. I don't want anyone getting the money. But it's going to be cool. This week's going to be crazy. I can only imagine what we have 18 weeks between now and the games. And before those 18 weeks are up, I plan to get a contract with Netflix for $1 million and give away $10,000 a week for Kill Taylor and have it roll over every week. So second week it'll be 20,000, third week it'll be 30,000. Next thing you know, it'll be just this crazy show. But run exactly the same way. You got to just text your number in. So we have 18 weeks to make this show good. The thing is, it's already good. We have 18 weeks for people to figure out how good it is. Thank you. I think it's genius too. I think it's absolutely genius. Can you imagine this show live? Does Netflix do anything live? The inspiration for this was Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are going to fight live on Netflix. And so I thought, shit, we should be doing our show live on Netflix. hey, it's not going to have to be high at all for people. I mean, I have a feeling this week, a lot of people are going to try. The thing is, don't forget, it's going to be hard to get in. No matter how good you are, you're going to be competing with people like Heidi will be trying to get in at the same time fucking Noah's trying to get in. You know what I mean? So the chances of Noah getting picked every week become slimmer and slimmer as the show gets bigger and bigger. Here's the phone, dude. Look at, here's the phone. This phone right here. And you text into it. I got this wire that plugs into it, the bottom. So you text into the phone saying, hey, I'm ready to do it. And when you're ready to do it, I send you a link. I don't even know who you are or what your name is. It doesn't matter. But the show's only an hour long. How did you come up with the Kill Taylor idea? I was just hating on Kill Tony. I was just hating on it, and then finally I'm like, why are you hating on that show? That's like the most, like, I was laying in bed and I was thinking to myself, I need to shut the fuck up. And then I was talking to Sousa, just because, like, hey, it's a successful show. I should be learning something from it instead of hating on it. So I shut that story down. And then I was talking to Sousa, and then it just hit me like I was like, holy shit. How crazy will it be? And all these people were like, well, what if no one calls in? And I was like, well, what do I care? I don't need anyone to, yeah, it's a great show. It's just awkward. Yeah. Everything I do is awkward. Maybe that's why I didn't like it, because I was seeing too much of myself in it. Jesus criminy. Any chance of doing Kill Taylor on like a Saturday? Yeah, Saturday at 10 a.m., douche canoe. $10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't be nice to him, Jan. Crying out loud. Yeah, exactly. Bernie Gannon, someone will be like an old boxing manager hand-picking tomato cans to go against Taylor. What I'm really hoping, what's really going to get crazy is the show's going to get huge. And then what's going to happen is people are probably going to start coming on, like, doing weird shit, right? I want to have like halftime shows too. I think I was telling you this. Like, wouldn't it be cool, like, if we took a break from the show and then Casey Akery was there and he did, like, 10 clean and jerks with one arm with like 155 or some crazy shit like that. Just like kind of like freak show shit just in between. But anyway. Oh God. 10 a.m. Saturday. See you guys there. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. I always screw this up. Let's just see really quick. Coffee, pods, and wads. Let's see what he has going today. I always forget to plug these guys. Okay, so today there's a show on Coffee, Pods, and Wads at 12 noon. It's called Around the Whiteboard. High Rock founder says CrossFit is injury heavy. Is it? Oh, wow. And it has Sam Schweitzer, Adam Klink, and some chick named Harriet Roberts. Scott Schweitzer, Adam Klink, and Harriet Roberts all go against each other. Okay, that'll be cool. Adam Klink's the 5-minute mile, 500-pound dude who I want to say he's like the CEO of Rad or something. He's somehow heavily involved in the Narrow Shoe Company. Okay, so that's cool. So that's at noon. Coffee, Pods, and Wads. Okay, now let's see what some of my other friends are doing. Get with the programming. And Get with the Programming also has a show today. Oh, at 11 a.m. So in 2 hours. And that's Bill Grundler and Chase Ingram, both regulars on the show. And it's called Analyzing the 2024 CrossFit Quarterfinals Programming. By the way, we scheduled Paige Powers is coming on. How sad that Paige somehow didn't make it to the games. That's the one. Her and Nick Matthew are the ones that really, like, I don't know what's right and wrong, but they need to be there. Okay, so Get with the Programming. So 11 a.m. Get with the Programming. Okay, let's see. A barbell spin. Barbell Spin has a show today too. 2024 CrossFit quarterfinals recap show. That's at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Holy shit, they had Andrea Nisler on. Damn, that was a big show. They got a lot of views from that. Damn, the barbell spin is murdering. That station's is killing it. Okay, so 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, get with the programming. Then when they're over, go to Coffee Pods and Wads. Then get back to work for a couple hours or work out, and then you come back to the barbell spin. Let's just see one more. Let's just see. Let's see. And Andrew Hiller, let's see if he has something new that you can watch while you work out. Videos. His last video was 4 days ago. This is what we asked for, sort of. Oh, I watched it. That's good. All right. There you go. Andrea Nisler interview was good. She's quirky. Yeah, she's crazy quirky. I had a weird interview with her, but I liked her. Can we get Amy Kringle on? Yeah, I'd love to have Amy Kringle on. Oh, Jeffrey Birchfield. Ben Massey is the CEO of RAD. Oh. Maybe Adam Klink's the CEO of Noble. He's involved with some shoe company. I know that. All right. See you guys tomorrow morning. Liz Collins, don't forget to watch Fall of Minneapolis. It's a great movie. Great movie. And watch it with someone who had sympathy for George Floyd. Watch that. That'll really, and just watch their face. That'll be funner than watching the movie. Love you guys. Thank you. Good show today, as always. Thank you. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.